All right, now we will get to our debate portion. So, Steve, as our judge, this is where you step in and you will be debating. First, an opening statement that Bella and Isla will read out. They will be able to now confer with their colleagues if they want to, but this is the debate topic. Is democracy really a good idea? Bella, you're going to say it's no. It's two wolves and a sheep arguing over what's for dinner. Isla says yes, even though it is the worst system in the world except for all the others. So you have 3 minutes to write your opening statement. You will deliver that opening statement for a minute. Steve, that's the first thing you'll judge. And then their response to my counterpoint. But you now have 3 minutes. Okay, both sides ready? Bella, we start with you. You have 1 minute to deliver your opening statement.
The belief of elitism is that democracy prevents those who are experienced and have an opinion. It basically keeps them from saying what they believe and keeping them from power, even though they are the most experienced and they have beliefs that are provided by background knowledge. Democracy also allows, it's very easy for mob rule to happen, and a lot of times you have a lot of issues with people who are less experienced and people who aren't aware of the full situation or aren't as experienced as those who actually have put research into the government. It allows them to have more of a say even if they're not fully experienced in what they're talking about.
Okay. So, Judge, that'll be your first marks for Bella's team. And Isla, you have 1 minute for your opening statement, starting now.
Okay, so democracy is the best system of government except for all the others, like the quote said. No system is perfect, but democracy, a government that is a democracy gives citizens a place to change their government based on their own needs, not based on the needs of an elitist or one group of people. And if in an elitist government, only one group of people has a voice, and America prides itself on the ability for different people to have a say in how our government should be run, and I think that's really important, and that's what has allowed our nation to be so successful. And an elitist government is basically a dictatorship because it's controlling what everyone else does based on one person's view, and that person may not be able to even relate to the citizens and the majority of the population in their country.
Okay, 1 minute on the nose. Very good. Now we get to the counterpoint. Bella, are you ready?
1 moment, please.
Okay. By all means, all right.
Okay.
Okay. So here's your counterpoint. Last fall, a Rhode Island senator named Sheldon Whitehouse decided that he wanted the Senate to pass a bill that would apply RICO laws to prosecute deniers of climate change, specifically those that work for energy companies. RICO laws are what they use to prosecute mobsters. So this was used to put violent mafia kingpins in jail, and now he is attempting to use that against those who disagree with him on climate change. So doesn't this stick a hole in your argument that elitists really are the smartest people? Because he is a member of the United States Senate, apparently a very smart guy, but has not taken the time to read the U.S. Constitution to know that that is a violation of First Amendment rights. So, isn't Isla right?
Well,
you have 1 minute. Okay.
Although the senator's the law he wants to pass is, as anyone can see, is harsh and does violate the Constitution, what he's trying to do is to protect not only the environment but our future. He's concerned about climate change and people not being able to see that that is something that exists. And I think, if anything, it's beneficial to the American people and it's beneficial to our future and keeping the environment and ourselves safe. And although this law wasn't necessarily fair and people should be allowed to have their own opinion, I think it was done to benefit the American people.
Okay, Isla, your rebuttal to Bella's comments. You have 1 minute.
Well, I do understand that he was trying to keep people safe, but there's other ways to do that than throwing them in jail just because they don't have the same opinion as you. And yes, global warming is an issue, and it needs to be prevented, but you can't just change people's views, and there are better ways to do things And you can still implement laws that will limit global warming without making everyone believe exactly what you do.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So, Judge, that was score the rebuttal on that, and then we'll go to Isla, counterpoint to Isla. So, Isla, your counterpoint, the 2016 presidential election. What a roller coaster. On the one hand, we have a man who seems completely devoid of any knowledge of civics, and on the other hand, on the left, we have a man who seems completely devoid of any knowledge of economics, and yet those two candidates between them garnered almost 20 million votes. So, judging by their popularity and the fact that they are, one's a front runner and one's a close front runner, isn't democracy just two wolves and a sheep arguing over what's for dinner? So you can begin your counterpoint now.
Bella is not correct, because even if we have a president who isn't exactly perfect for the job, it's still what the majority of the country need or would want to rule them and have lead in their government. And even if they're, like I said, even if they're not the perfect candidate, we have checks and balances in place so that they won't make mistakes, and if they do, then they will be impeached, and someone who better suits the government and the people's needs will be put into the role of president.
Okay. Bella, your rebuttal. You have 1 minute.
So you made the point that even if the president isn't perfect for the job, isn't that also putting the American people at risk? Because if we look at the two presidential candidates, if neither of them aren't able to compromise and be able to, obviously neither of them are very experienced, and because they have very little background knowledge, it obviously shows that just having anybody being able to run the American government doesn't necessarily work, because you have people who are inexperienced and aren't aware of what the presidential requirements are and truly of what this country needs. Then then maybe having an elitist isn't necessarily the most democratic way, but it also means that we have somebody who's experienced and who can point our country in the right direction.
Okay. Would you like to rebut that? Okay. I told them if this happened, and if it got to be a very good, particularly interesting topic, I would give them an extra minute each. So, Judge, you can score for 3 points. We're going to go on to 2 more rebuttals. So I'll give Isla a minute, and then Bella, she's going to have to get the last word. So I will give her a minute to you. But go ahead, Isla. You have 1 minute.
So you talk about mob rule and tyranny, and so I would think that mob rule and tyranny would play more of a role in an elitist government, because the citizens aren't the one who's picking the leader of their government, so that would just allow the citizens to be more enraged, whereas in a democracy they have the choice of who rules them or who runs the government, and if that person isn't the best suited, there are ways for them to be taken out of office so that someone better fitted can be put in.
Okay. Bella, you'll get the last word, and you will have 1 minute.
So going back to the point of mob rule, democracy allows basically, I think mob rule is something that can happen in both situations, because although you can have people enraged with what happened, just like how you had people enraged over what this New York senator said, he was still trying to benefit the future, and he was trying to benefit other people. And I think that in the case of democracy, it's not always going to be beneficial, and we've had so many cases in past presidents where they've taken this country down with them, and I think that presidents always don't do the best job, and that could be because they don't have as much experience.
Okay. I like it. It's a debating Vietnam. No one's blinking, no one's backing down. So we're going to go to our next topic.